Spoken lately. I haven't thought about flying for a long time. I haven't dreamed of that moment when I was alone above the clouds for a long time. I haven't dreamed of waking up in a room surrounded in blue and green grass for more years than I could dream of remembering. I haven't walked back into the past or scratched on the doors of my origins, where it all came from, since I hung up that cape for the last time.
Return to Cape Town 10th Year Anniversary Edition is a revised version of Andy N's first poetry book. The book can be purchased from Amazon and it contains numerous additional material.
Spoken lately.
Hi, it's Andy Ann from Spoken Label. Spoken Label was originally set up at the beginning of 2016, and records show it started off really as a one-off podcast chatting to writers, poets and artists. Over time, it became monthly, then weekly, and occasionally nowadays it goes on that to a more regular basis. To date, I've done over 330 sessions, and I'm always looking for new poets, writers, artists, singer-songwriters, general interesting creative people to come onto the podcast. You can find this on all the usual networks over Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Podbay, and dozens of others. But it does have a central database of spoken label, which is all one word, .bandcamp.com. Obviously now, to help me with the running costs of this podcast, I'm always grateful for any kind of donation to assist me with it. You can either do the donation through the Bandcamp page by putting in a fee to download one of the free podcasts, or send it over to my PayPal to aen1mpo at yahoo.co.uk. My email address again is aen1mpo at yahoo.co.uk. Enjoy the podcast. Take care. Bye.
Spoken
Hey
lately.
guys, Andy N, Spoken Label, back in the house on a Sunday afternoon. Lovely peaceful day today. As I was in Bradford yesterday on Amanda, and it knackers me out. Too awful running backwards and forwards, and 50-minute bus rides, an hour-long train journeys, another half an hour bus rides. I can't do it anymore. So we're doing a podcast today, man. This is great because the lady you've got with us today, and I met her a couple of months ago, and she's been absolutely fantastic to watch over at Speakeasy. Now I co-run in Cholton, and it's a pleasure. We've got the fantastic and equally wonderful bonkers as well, and sometimes serious as well, I've noticed. Marigold Lately. Now, people obviously may guess Marigold may be her real name, maybe not, but we'll let her to explain on that. Now, Marigold, obviously, people that don't know you then, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself as a person, where it all came from originally.
Well, Marigold Lately is a character, but to be honest, she's sort of taken over a little bit, which I don't mind because I wasn't that fond of Michaela, which is my real name. Anyway, so Marigold came about. She was born properly last October, but I'd say that's the first time she went out, which was a comedy gig actually at Hot Water Comedy Club in Liverpool. But how she was created was is that what you want to know? You want to know how she came about?
Because I'm always of the opinion, and I know several comics and comic composers stick to an alias. So tell us about where it came from. Yeah, do it that way.
Okay.
Then.
Well, first of all, the name Marigold came about because during lockdown I was writing for a few Zoom plays and things, a series called The Tulip Diaries, which was a little bit sort of serial killery, you know, and I wanted a name because I didn't, and it was Marigold because of the flower, and the Tulip Diaries, really obvious. Not that anybody kind of really got it because it was Marigold, but anyway. So and that was just a little bit of a sideline thing that you do when you know. And then just before lockdown, I used to run a theatre with my partner in Liverpool, which was a working class sort of radical, trying to put local actors on stage. And I became really, really depressed, to be honest. But I used to run it not because of the theatre, and I was undiagnosed with celiac at that time, which I didn't realise I had anemia. So that was all part of it, which I didn't know, obviously. And so I'm not very good at this. I'm just a rambler, as you can tell.
Oh,
Marigold, save me.
well, all I say to that is Andy N is known for being living by linking things with the seat of his pants, right? So
yeah, okay, so basically we were doing that, and because it became more about logistics and less about creativity when you sort of running a theatre space, and we wanted to put shows on for other people, and it just became less and less creative for me. So I decided to leave, not under any bad circumstances. It was just it was the time to go, and we left the space and what have you, for people to use the equipment and what have you. So we did that, and then I decided to become an actor. But I decided a few months before lockdown. So lockdown happened, and then acting kind of was a bit of a strange beast then, because obviously the world had closed pretty much. And through that time, I did a few projects. Some were great and some were not so great. And I felt I was just getting more and more depressed with the whole thing, because it's quite a tough path, really, especially when you're older, I think, and you don't have as much energy. I felt that, and I felt that I didn't really fit into a category either, because I just didn't, and I had a few bad experiences, different things happen, and so I was like, oh, so come February 2022, that's last year, isn't it? Yeah, I was in a very, very bad mental state, really, so much so that my partner was kind of just concerned about me, I suppose, and was like, is this really the right thing for you? And why don't you just talk about it and get it out? So I did a video in a little room which I've got outside, with my dog was with me. She's always with me, my dog. And I just did this 26-minute video of how I was feeling, what had happened to me, which I'd never really spoken about. And I sent it to him, and he went, that's what you need to be doing. That's funny. It's dark. It's people will relate to it. And I was like, really? Do you think? And so, and so it took me about 6 months to shape it and put together how I would do it. And it was kind of the same as it was from the April to the October. And then I went out to the Hot Water Comedy Club. Marigold was already there because of the name. And lately, kind of felt, because I was late to the party, and a little bit of a nod to Breakfast at Tiffany's, that sort of name, Holly Go Lightly, Marigold Lately.
Yeah, I got that. I got that. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. So I kind of felt that. It had never, ever occurred to me. I have absolutely no, I've never had any desire to be a stand-up comedian or a poet or a spoken word artist in any way, shape or form. But what happened, which seems really, really crazy, because I've just, like, this month I've nearly done 20 gigs in a month.
Yeah, and people notice we're not at the end of September yet either, because I saw your post, didn't we, where you put it on Instagram about that, and I was sat there thinking, but the exact words were, I read this morning, fucking hell, does she ever sleep?
I know, because I do work as well. I know, and I've put more in. I've got an extra one tonight, an extra one on Thursday. And I'm like, well, October is not going to be like that, because I do need to concentrate on rehearsing. So, but the reason I went into that world was because I wanted to, initially, it was about trying out sections of the show, because I didn't really know what it was, or what it was about. So, and I didn't want to go. I'd showed it to someone, and they said, "Oh, you need to hire a space, record it, and then send it to people." And I was like, oh, no, invite people to come and see it. I was like, who's going to come and see it? Oh, so I thought I'm just going to do it like this. And then when I started doing these, first of all, it was comedy. I was like, oh, I like this. And then I've just met some amazing people. And then somebody suggested that I do spoken word. Well, actually, it came about. Shall I tell you how it came about? Because I've only just started doing the spoken word ones.
Please do.
I'd gone to an open mic in Chester, and I didn't realise it was a music open mic, because there's loads of music open mics.
Yeah,
so I was like really down there with the guitar and singing, and I thought, oh no. Oh God. So I went to the organizer, and he was like, oh, well, you're here now, do 3 minutes. And if it's, it's not working, just get off. I was like, okay. So anyway, I ended up doing 15, and it was just complete mayhem, chaos. And it was just really, really good. It was a different set than you've seen. It was more sort of comedy based and audience interaction. And I just had such a great time with it. And some of it was unplanned, so I really like that. And when I sat back down, I was sitting on a table, because nobody ever comes with me usually to comedy or spoken word, because I'm like, if I know people, I'm just like, oh. And I sat back down, and there was a guy on the table who I'd asked to sit with, because there was no free tables, and he was a folk singer, and he just looked at me and he went, what was that? And I said, oh, I don't know. And he goes, it was great. He goes, but I don't know what it was. And I went, and he went, you straddling genres. And I went, oh, that's brilliant. I'll have that.
Because
it sounds really
great. Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it came about. And then because quite a lot of what I do is quite dark and it isn't funny, but it's not poetry. But then I went along to a spoken word event, and it seemed to go really well. And it's more, you can do a little, I mean, you've seen what I do. That's quite representative, I think, what you've seen.
Yeah. A
It's a
couple
bit
of
of a
times now.
mixture.
I've seen both sides of you. I've seen you've got your what arguably stand-up side of you more, and then also your serious side. And it's a very, very fine path that you're treading there, because it's certainly not poetry. And that's why I think no, certainly not. And that's why I want to get you on today. So I think it's brilliant, because people wondering over Speakeasy. Speakeasy is not a spoken word poetry night. It's a spoken word night. And we want people to come up and poetry, whatever they want to do. Stories, extract novels, plays, monologues. There's all kinds of mediums you could spread your legs on into the theatrical side. And yours is very, very theatrical. And that's what's really, really good about it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
have you found this? Sorry, I ask you, have you found since you started doing it? I know you're gigging, people see your Instagram feed, you're gigging constantly at the moment. Have you found, has your set changed much, has it, over time, naturally?
Yeah, what happens is, it sort of evolves organically, which sounds a bit like, like Sainsbury's or something, organic, yogurt. But it kind of does, because what happens is sometimes people interact with you, or you just ad lib quite a lot. So I'm very, very scripted. Like, I go over and over a set, maybe, I don't know, 40 or 50 times before it even sees the light of day. But then, because I know it so well, I've got the freedom to be able to improvise, go off. And I suppose that's just because I'm an actor, really. And so, you have that safety of knowing what you're doing exactly, that you can relax into it. So yeah, it does change. If something's not going so well, though, in a performance, in terms of the response, because obviously the worst thing is silence, I won't change. I never change. Marigold, I think Michaela would change, but Marigold is on a mission, and she doesn't see one gig as a separate thing. I do. I have terrible stage fright. So you might have even noticed, before I go on, I'll be jittering about and I'm moving, and I might do some little shrills to warm up. I don't know how people go on with paper and read, because I'd be like that because I'm shaking. I always admire people that read.
I have to read because basically I don't know if I've told you, but I'm dyspraxic. So like it's me to
No,
go
I
on
didn't know that.
stage, like it's with memory issues I've got the best of times. There's no bloody way I can sit there on stage and do off the top of my head a full page of whatever. It's just not going to
Well,
happen.
it's different for different people, because people always go to, oh, you've learned all that, and I'm like, yeah, that's, for me, that's the easier option. If I was reading, I'd just be a wreck. I would be a wreck. So I was just like, so no, it does change, but it doesn't change. It just changes through doing it. And I think what's been amazing, because I'm about to go into rehearsals properly. The show's all written and everything, but in terms of rehearsing the order and putting it all together in one section as a run, I haven't, because I've been doing bits and pieces as I'm going around, little sort of segments of it. What is it called? I can't even think of the word. Like a little
Sequencing? No. Order, I don't. Yeah, so there's along those lines, isn't it? Yeah, so
little snippets of the piece, if you like. And but it does change, but it doesn't change because it doesn't work, if that makes sense. It tends to get added on to. The other thing that's really difficult is I've got so much new material, but I'm being quite disciplined in that I'm focused on the show, so the new material will wait, because the new material, any material, is getting tried out at comedy, at spoken word. It gets tried out and then it gets tweaked and then it gets tried out again. It's quite a little formula.
yeah, it's the right formula. It's the right formula because people wonder like I don't do as much as I used to. I don't, for various reasons. But certainly, I would often go along, say, 1 month, I'd read out the same piece 4 or 5 times. How many nights I've done. And then at the end of the month, it'll come to the final version. And I think that's you're getting at the same process. And then you know when yourself whether if you read it again in the future, you've got it sorted in your own head. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I also know where it fits sometimes, because sometimes there's things like I call it the Anfield set, which is, I think you've seen that. I have a little black book that I write down, which is the homeless one, and that fits really well with the shoplifting set that I do. And you don't really know that until, and also what I really like is this strict minutes. Like, I don't go over, people say 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't go over, because I really like that discipline. And also I know how long things are. Then I'm like, right, that's 4 minutes. I'll not go over. I mean, the main reason is because I wouldn't disrespect people, but I do get that that's not the reason why people go over. They just want to share, and I really like that. I like to see other people's work. I mean, I think that's probably the thing that's surprised me, that the sense of sort of community, really, and making new friends, which sounds really like, but it has been like that. I've met some really amazing people that I really like. So
yeah, I can't blame you when you get into it. It's a case of it's a journey. I think you're dead right. You can meet some absolutely wonderful people who are doing it. It's like I said before, you've been I know you've been going all over the place, literally, haven't you? So you've already talked about Chester. I've seen you in Manchester a couple of times. You've done Liverpool, and I'm not gonna go into detail, but you're all over the place at the moment, definitely with that. So yeah. But do you find then when you're doing it in different areas, the areas, one area might find funny, another doesn't, do they? Some part of things don't always, whatever reason, do they? So they go differently.
Well, I mean, I feel quite contained at the minute, because Marigold wants to go everywhere. She's just like, oh, let's go, but I'm like, no, we need to stay in the Northwest for now because of the show. And, you travel, part of your energy is traveling, so I always have to be aware of that, because I've noticed the biggest thing affects my energy is being tired. Yeah. So making sure that you've slept, not drinking alcohol before going on, and eating. Yeah, because if you're tired, it's really like, oh. In terms of different areas, what I've noticed is that inner city is different than suburbia. So Manchester and Liverpool, not really noticed that much in terms of what they like and what they don't like. But it's more when you go out of the city centre, it's slightly different. Yeah, they've got a different. They expect something different from you. And I think probably the comedy one is a bigger ask for people. And I mean, I do say, oh, I'm not funny, but then a lot of people will say to me, but you are funny. It's very dark. You're not a one-liner type comedian. That's a different thing, which I don't do, you know.
Yours are stories, and it's the stories themselves. It's the stories that there's different ways. There often is, like you said, two couple sorts of comedy, and I've no comics that do both of them. Where and like I said, some of them can have you in stitches of line after line after gag. Yours are, I think, they're very different, and it's there's several styles.
Dislike that. I don't dislike one-liners. It's just not what I do. You know, everybody's different, aren't they? So and I don't want to make people laugh. I don't want to make people cry. I just want. Well, I don't want anything really. It's Marigold. Marigold wants people to think about things.
Yeah,
so
you most definitely do, and that's why. Yeah,
you know, I mean, she's challenging what is going on because she's really she's not happy.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way of putting it. That definitely. That's all I'm going to say there. She's a little bit on the angry side, I think is a word I'd use sometimes.
She is.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah, I think we have to ask this one, obviously, like I said for him. How much of Marigold is in you as a person?
Oh, everybody asks me that question.
I've got to ask you, that's why.
Yeah, everybody asks me. Do you know what? People come up to me. I mean, you haven't seen my darker sets, because some of it is quite dark. Okay. Right, well, okay, so maybe it's like in Alien with John Hurt. So oh no, what's going to happen to me?
Oh God.
So yeah, I think maybe it's a little bit like that, but I'm hoping that'll be okay. And I'm not actually the John Hurt character. Yeah, she has got a lot of things to say, and she uses me as a vehicle, I suppose. And Michaela is obviously the person, the writer, and director.
Yeah, Michaela's the person that has to put up with her, basically, when she's gone on
stage.
And
I do have a break from her. And we have rules sometimes. We go, can Marigold not be here today? Because she's an egotistical maniac. And she is. And I suppose there's part of me that is like that. But there's a part of me that's really shy. So, you know, and nervous. It's hard to say. I'd say about 70% probably is me, and 30 is not. But a lot of people want to know if it's autobiographical. And you know, and I answer it, and I'll answer it the same. I would never do anything that isn't authentic. That doesn't mean everything that I'm saying is true, but it means that it's coming from a place of authenticity, which is a really sneaky answer.
It's the same way for me.
Marigold. She's sneaky too.
That's the way I'm doing it, because, like, you know, I've got my novel on the go in November. And that's about a young writer, also called Andy, about 17 or 18 when he gets going. And it's not me, because I was like, this character ends up fronting a 5-piece band. And first of all, I'm a bloody awful singer, even though I've fronted bands. And secondly, when I was 18, there's no way you'd have got me on stage unless I had about 10 pints in me. At which point then I'd probably be throwing up all over stage. No. Yeah, it's the way you do it sometimes. It's that mixture in reality and fiction. And it's a fine line. So
it is.
But we better ask you about your show, because obviously, like I said, we're here today to talk about your show. Most of you've got a show in mid-November, haven't you? Dirty Old Town.
Yeah.
So just tell us about where Marigold directed you with a show then. That's a good way of putting it. No,
Well, there's certain things that Marigold wants to talk about. Okay. Her big thing, I don't think this will ever change actually. Her big thing is about class. Okay. So about the working class in this country and what is happening and what has happened in the past and what is frightening, how the situation is progressing, if you like. And also within the arts, how it's completely elitist. Okay.
yeah,
So they're
definitely.
her two kind
There's
of,
still a
yeah,
big problem at this day. There's generations of change. We're not enough, fortunately.
absolutely, absolutely. And I yeah, so that's kind of what underpins everything. Okay, so whatever Marigold does, that's what, because she's got a lot of empathy. She's angry, but she's got a lot of empathy. She doesn't represent anyone, okay, but what she wants to call out things and say this isn't okay. You know, the way we perceive things, the way the narrative that the working class have in the media, you know, the underclass, the way people are, it's just, you know, I mean, I know anyone probably even looking at this, they're going to go, yeah, that's the way things are. And they just seem to be getting worse. And it's quite, I mean, it's quite scary in a way, I think, the way things are progressing and people's, you know, like the NHS is being eroded. And it's almost like, it feels like boiling a frog, you know?
That's a good
So
way. That's a
you
good
don't
way of
really,
putting it. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah. And it feels like suddenly that the frog's like, oh my God, yeah, I'm being boiled, you know, and whereas for years it's not kind of been that aware. Does that make sense?
I think it does
Um,
definitely. Yeah, definitely makes sense of that. So, why did you
yeah.
call? Why has the show been called Dirty Old Town?
Um, the character who nobody's seen properly really says that. I spend a lot of time on trains, so I get to meet lots of different people, and that's Michaela. Marigold isn't usually there on the train. And what happens with Michaela, which is me, is I get to speak to a lot of people. People just speak to me, and I don't mind that, because especially now, a lot of people don't make eye contact with anyone. Everyone is like this on the phone.
Oh
They
God,
don't
yeah,
even,
don't start me on that
yeah,
one, yeah,
and I
because
don't think it's just
yeah,
an age thing because everyone does it. Everyone is like, sometimes you're in the most beautiful place and people are still like on the phone and just like, wow, can you not see there's like this beautiful tree or a dog or, do you know, things going
yeah,
on. They don't even
definitely.
train dream. They don't even train dream. And that, so the train dreaming has always been amazing for me. I'm not a fan of a bus. I get sick on a bus.
Oh,
So,
don't start me on that,
oh,
Rob.
no,
Yeah,
buses, oh my God. And they're always very lively. But trains, I really kind of just get lots of time to think, get lots of time to see different people. And it came about through that really. Yeah, yeah, that's how it came about. And Dirty Old Town isn't a place. It's not one place.
no,
It's it's where sometimes you just find yourself. It is about cities, but it could be anywhere really. Um, yeah, and it just seemed the right title. Um,
I think it's a great title because, like, you're thinking obviously of the song about Salford, aren't you? Dirty Old Town by you and
yeah,
Paul.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, there is that element, and I do hear characters singing that in different places. And because I think when you travel quite a bit on trains, and you're in different parts of the city, all different times of the day, you just get to meet this wide variety of people, you know. And people say to me, oh, you know, don't go in there at night and go in here at night. And then, you know, sometimes the people who you think are that people look at and go, oh, you know, look at him or look at her, they're just the best people.
I think you do.
They're just the
Sometimes you end
kindest
up,
people.
yeah, you end up sometimes, and I try not to do this. And it's we all guilty. I am guilty of this. is like you judge people by first appearances sometimes.
Absolutely.
And it's a
Yeah.
dangerous thing to do sometimes. I try not to do it, and I have done it. I'll hold my hands up.
I think we all do it to an extent. We all do it to an extent. I mean, the funniest thing actually was when I was in Chorlton, because Chorlton's got all these bicycle lanes, haven't they?
Oh, it's bloody nightmare around there. It's a bloody nightmare around there because they've been digging it up everywhere.
I didn't know. Right. So I was like, oh, I parked because obviously I've been to yours, and then I go round to a comedy place at Jam Street, and which is really lovely. So and it's great for. I always love to do a spoken word and a comedy event in one night because
people are wondering. Obviously, Jam Street is a lovely place. Not as good as Speakeasy, of course, but I do recommend it, right?
So, yeah, Dulcimer is lovely as well. They're both really lovely venues, and it's a little comedy night, Jelly Legs. It's just great. And so I did too. Anyway, so I park up and I got out of the car, and it didn't even occur to me about these bicycle lanes. And this cyclist is like, phew, like really gets dickhead, shouts at me really loudly, and I was like, well, fair enough. I am probably a dickhead, but how do they know? And it's because I was on the cycle lane, But they almost got me, right? So I and I was like that. I was like, wow. So, and I'd got my phone. I was getting into the car, and this guy comes over and he goes, "You all right? You all right?" Like this, and I went, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "It's just this cyclist." He goes, and he went on this big rant about cyclists. It was hilarious, and I was just like, this is so funny, and it was just so good. And then he was like, "You're all right," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah." So, excuse my really bad Manchester accent. That's really bad Manchester.
It's not as good as my Liverpool pudding accent, so don't worry.
And he just was like, "Oh, you okay? Get back to your car and everything." Just so nice. Yeah, and little things. Just little interactions with people cheer you up. Do you know what I mean?
Oh God, yeah, completely, yeah.
Yeah, and it tends to be, mostly it tends to be, or maybe it's just where I am. I don't know. I always find it's just ordinary people, if you like, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I class myself as ordinary working class person, whereas sometimes you go somewhere and everybody's like, I don't automatically go, oh, if somebody's posh or the middle class, I don't go, ooh, all I'm saying is that working class people can tend to be more open about things or can be more helpful.
I agree. It's great. Completely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I'm not anti. I don't want to. Because I do have friends. All different friends of different.
Yeah, no, of course, I agree.
Yeah.
Agree completely. Yeah. So, right, I'm conscious of the time. So I'm going to give you a bit of time for reading out some extracts for us now. Obviously, to wrap up then, where is the show going to be happening at? Because we haven't touched on that yet, and the dates as well.
Okay. Yeah, I know, and I'm really bad, as you know. I'm so bad at marketing. Like,
You're better than I am, that's all I'm going to say.
Oh my God. I go, oh yeah, there's a show. It was like, people go, oh, there's a show. I go, yeah, there's a show. And they go, where is it? I'm like, it's in Liverpool. What's it called? I don't even say anything. I'm so bad. The show is in Liverpool at the Hope Street Theatre on the 16th, 17th and 18th of November. This is the flyer. This is what it looks like.
Now, people are wondering, obviously, there. You've got the flyer that's on the video, unfortunately, only. But the slide does say,
oh, yeah.
We better describe it. Yeah, tell you what, for those listening, why do you read out to people what's on the flyer? That might be easier.
That's what I'm talking about. I'd be so good on the radio. And here's a picture.
Yeah.
It's Marigold Lately, which is me, obviously, in dirty old town. It says it's a dark comic one-woman show, hilariously not funny. And it's part of a theatre double bill. So the other play that is on, so mine's like a one-woman show that'll be on in the first half. It's about 50 minutes to an hour, and then there'll be an interval, and then there'll be a second show, if you like, which is this. I'm just showing that.
Yeah, and that says Out the Woodwork, which people are wondering, that's a 5-person play. So what's like, fork your money, go see Marigold, then give any cover and go home then. No, I'm not going to. I get away with that.
You're a devil. You're a devil, you, aren't you? Yeah.
I'll get you banned if you're not careful, though,
I
definitely.
know. And then that one is a new Scouse farce. So that's dark comedy as well. So it's a farce, and that's written by Lee Clotworthy, who is a local creative who I've known and is fairly prolific, and he's great. And some local actors that are involved. I haven't seen the rehearsals, because as I say, it's it's two separate projects that we've combined together. To sort of give people a night out, really, a theatre, and share costs as well, because obviously it's to put on a show and everything. So yeah, that's when it's happening. And we combined it and called it Gold Ginger Productions because
that's nice.
because Lee's got ginger hair, and he and I was called Marigold, and I just wanted to do gold ginger,
Yeah, and I got the gag. Brilliant. Oh,
I know.
Sometimes the obvious ones are the best ones, is all I'm going to say.
I mean, I don't know. He was just like, okay. So so that's kind of what we combined to do. Yeah, and that's happening. So there will be quite a lot about it. I've done a promotional video with little vox pops and things, which I can send you.
Is that online? Yeah, send the link to me.
Obviously, right. It's not online, because why would I show it to anyone? Why would I do that?
That's all I'm going to say, right? Brilliant.
Well, basically, it's a kind of starting point, really, the show, because after that, Marigold does want to. She's got quite a lot of topics she wants to cover, and she wants to. What I'm excited about is collaborating with other people as well, because through doing these events, I've met some amazing people that are doing amazing projects, and they're like, oh, can we collaborate and do this and do that? And so that is very exciting as well. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's
I do.
thing.
I'm always a believer in this. The one thing I've heard people doing podcasting and all the bits and pieces I've done, this applies to you, is you meet people all the time, and it's what started off as your work, I think, can mutate into vastly different directions. And I think that's definitely what's happening to you there, definitely. So
yeah,
I can't really ask you what you got planned beyond November yet, because I think that's not the time to do this. So
I don't know.
Yeah, that's even better. Even better.
Marigold doesn't tell me everything. She might tell you. She doesn't tell me everything. I'm just like, okay, take notes. What are we doing?
And what I'll have to do is I'll have to hypnotize you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it would be like Alien, where
hypnotize you. Then we'll pull a teaser out. So we'll make
like a tapeworm.
Yeah,
she's basically Marigold is my tapeworm.
I like it. Right, we better wrap up, Paul. I want to give you definitely a chance, a bit of reading for us. Okay, if you want people to find out more about Marigold, where do you recommend they go?
Probably Instagram is the best place, because I'm confused on the other platforms. Marigold Lately. It's all one word, all lowercase. It's Marigold as in the flower, and then lately as in what have you done for me lately? Or yeah, or do you want me to spell it?
No, it's fine. I'll put it in
and there's me. It's before I had a picture of my dog, and people were going, is it why? So now there's a picture of me, but I have got sunglasses on for some reason. Instagram, follow me on Instagram.
Worth it, definitely worth it. So been a pleasure today, right?
Well, thank you so much, and good luck with all your things as well.
Yeah, thank you. Right, I've already hang around because we're going to have a part 2 now. See you all in 2 moments.
Spoken Label.
Hey guys, Andy N. The amazing, I'm not going to say comical, but certainly one-off, that's the best way of putting it, Marigold Lately. Straight over to Marigold now. She's going to do a little extract from her forthcoming show. Over to you, my friend.
A series of catastrophic decisions and totally avoidable circumstances have brought me here to be with you right now. And I'm sure it's going to be as bad for you as it is for me. I'm a middle-aged woman trapped in a middle-aged woman's body. My friends suggested I start a GoFundMe page, but I haven't. My main problem is that I don't have anything in common with people. I'm a middle-aged, well, over middle-aged woman, let's be honest, who it seems has more in common with, say, a 16-year-old boy, who is more mentally mature than me. So basically, I'm about 11 or 12 in here. So if I was on a dating app, I'd be wanting a paedophile, but with none of the benefits for them. Because obviously, I don't have the body of a child, but I've got the mind of one. Sorry. I am happier this month though, because I was always struggling to think of suicide. Oh, sorry, trigger warning. I was always struggling to think of suicide as a bad thing, and now I'm quite open to it. I'm not like, oh, I'm going to commit suicide. It's an option. Like, if there's fish on the menu, I'm like, oh, no, I'm not going to have fish. I'll have fish if I feel like it. So that for me is a happy place. It's not a fish joke. I'm just not afraid of that whole situation.
Spoken Label.